Hey there guys, you're here with Bo. Thanks for tuning in to another video. And we've just got some more breaking news coming out about Facebook's Libra project. Things are not getting any better for Facebook at all as the Senate Banking Committee schedules a July hearing on Facebook's Libra crypto. Now this comes on the back of another Democratic senator getting outraged over Facebook and its privacy and what they're doing with the Libra project. So we're going to get into that in today's video. We're going to cover this article in depth. I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinion on how I genuinely think this project is dead before it even began. I really think the walls are closing in on Facebook and the Libra project. So guys, stick around. Thank you for tuning in and let's get into the video. So welcome back guys, thanks for tuning in. You are here with Bo Stoner from Cryptocurrency Australia. Now, as you know, in yesterday's video, we covered Facebook's Libra project coming under a ton of heat, mainly from Democratic senators. Maxine Waters was one of them, but also some Republicans in relation to the Libra project. Now, it was really interesting. I got some fantastic comments on that video, which I'm going to go through in just a bit, that seemed to reinforce my theory that Facebook was allowed to go ahead with this, with the senators, probably on both sides, knowing full well the repercussions that were going to come to them afterwards. That may sound like a bit of a conspiracy theory, but honestly, the chain of events, the fact that this happened, all of this has happened within 48 hours of Facebook going, essentially publicly announcing this, is too coincidental in my mind and the research that I do and staying tuned into politics. It's too coincidental for it to be a coincidence. So anyway, look, it's really interesting. We're going to get into that in a bit more detail as we go along. Let's get into the meat of this article. So here we have an article here from CoinDesk. Senate Banking Committee schedules July hearing on Facebook's Libra crypto. Reading from the beginning here. The US Senate Committee on Banking, Housing and Urban Affairs will hold a hearing on July 16 regarding Facebook's new cryptocurrency Libra. The hearing, examining Facebook's proposed digital currency and data privacy considerations, comes in the wake of calls from members of Congress to more closely examine Libra and its potential risks. There have even been calls to halt work on the project until hearings are held. In light of these comments, a Facebook representative said that we look forward to responding to lawmakers' questions as this process moves forward. The July 16 meeting will be held at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and as of yet, no information about witnesses has been released. The hearing will be broadcast to the public. It was the Banking Committee that wrote an open letter to Facebook last month seeking answers about its work on Libra, including how it works and to what extent the social media giant has sought input from regulators and market watchdogs. Oh, so that's interesting. So the Banking Committee, the one that has scheduled, well, it looks like possibly the same committee that has scheduled this hearing, are the ones that actually wrote an open letter to Facebook, although this could be another committee, but it does seem like it's the same one. It was the Banking Committee that wrote an open letter to Facebook last month seeking answers about its work on Libra, including how it works and to what extent the social media giant has sought input from regulators and market watchdogs. As of this week, Facebook hadn't directly responded to that letter, with a representative telling CoinDesk that we received the letter and are addressing the senator's questions. After today's hearing, news broke. Committee member and 2020 presidential candidate Senator Elizabeth Warren tweeted that Facebook has too much power and a terrible track record when it comes to protecting our private information. We need to hold them accountable, not give them the chance to access even more user data. Hashtag break up big tech. Now, whilst I actually agree with her sentiment, I don't. The authenticity coming from her to me doesn't resonate. Not a huge fan of the Democrats in the United States personally, and you know, coming from Elizabeth Warren, just I don't know. To me, just it doesn't resonate. But what she has said, I agree with. It's just the intent just doesn't resonate with me. But regardless, what we're having is some big names come out against Facebook and this project. I mean, that can't be disputed, and I really feel like this project is finished before it even begins. And if you think about the scale of this project, you know, a cryptocurrency essentially being controlled by a centralized big tech company that has over 2 billion users. I mean, the potential for abuse is just off the scale. So, you know, given how much we're seeing come out against this, I really feel like this project is not even going to get off the ground. But anyway, I digress. Moving on. I want to read a couple of comments, one or two from people, because I thought they were really good. There was one here from DHT Media. The conspiracy theorist side of me makes me feel that the Liberals and Facebook already talked about this long ago. I think it's going to happen anyway, and that they're just rolling with the punches to make it look good. If you read how this came about in depth and how quickly the government moved. Are you familiar with how our lackadaisical our government is here? I don't think I've heard that word before, especially when it comes to regulation. This is bull written all over it, especially if Maxine Waters comes out and says something about it. She can barely spell her own name, more or less knows what the heck crypto is. Yeah, I'm definitely familiar with I actually study US politics just about every day, believe it or not. It's far more interesting to me than Australian politics. But I would say the last couple of years has been a fair bit going on over in the United States with Trump and executive orders. I feel like a lot has happened, but maybe there are still some areas over there that aren't getting a lot of attention. And look, another comment I wanted to go through actually was from some old YouTubers that I used to follow, which are the Hodge twins. Now, I checked this out, and I think this is actually their authentic account. These guys actually made a cryptocurrency channel about a year ago, and they don't post a lot, but they decided to give XRP a good old shill over here on my channel. But honestly, I just want to say I'm honored that these guys, if it was them, that they commented on my channel. And guys, just want to let you know I support what you do, and you've given me lots of amazing entertainment over the years, and keep it up. And thanks again for the comment. Now, guys, moving on, just one last article I want to cover here, a bit unrelated to Facebook and even a bit unrelated to crypto, but still really important in finance and economics and investment, which I want to cover more on this channel, and that's why I thought it'd be really interesting. Now, what the title of the article is Hedge Funds for Everyone, SEC Ponders Letting in the Not So Rich. Now, this is really fascinating. Essentially, what the SEC are doing is questioning the existing constraints around accredited investor status. Now, accredited investor status is like a benchmark amount of wealth that an individual needs to have to become qualified, which then allows them to invest in a more high-risk investments. Now, some of those may be early-stage tech startups, or any kind of startup that are offering equity in the form of a seed funding round or a Series A, Series B, Series C. Now, during these phases of the early project is the most high risk because the project is in its very early stages and the technology may not work out or the team may not work out. But this is when you get the most discount for stocks, and this is also where you get the highest weighted shares in terms of Class A, Class B, Class C that hold more voting weight in things like shareholder meetings. So this is really fascinating to me because it shows that they're looking at the problem at the moment where the rich get richer because they're the only ones that get the best discounts on these companies. So reading through the article here, hedge funds and private equity firms may be inching closer to getting their hands on a big pot of money that US regulators have mostly kept out of reach, cash from mum and pup investors. Such an opportunity would be significant for industries that have largely had to restrict their clients to investors like the super rich, sovereign wealth funds, and state pensions. But allowing retail money in also poses risks, including the danger of exposing financial neophytes with limited nest eggs to investments they don't understand. The prospect of such a major change was raised Tuesday by the US Securities and Exchange Commission, which said it would seek public comment on whether it should ease long-standing restrictions that prevent regular Americans from investing like the wealthy can. Advocates for expanding the pool say current rules prevent mum and pop from investing in companies like Uber Technologies and Facebook at the most lucrative stage when such firms are fast-growing startups. Yet skeptics say they're worried about unsophisticated investors getting fleeced. Now, just a quick comment on that. The accredited investor status is based on the notion that just because you have a lot of assets, a lot of money, you know what you're doing with your finances, and thus you are therefore more experienced and intelligent when it comes to investing. But I don't see how that is logical. Just because someone has money doesn't mean they're good with money. They may have inherited money. They may have worked really hard for it, but that doesn't mean that they are good with money. They may be an entrepreneur that's come up with a really good idea and sold a company and have come into a lot of money and are able to invest. That doesn't mean they're good with money. And most of these people with a ton of money have financial advisors doing the work for them anyway. So opening the doors to more people to have access to these investments, I see is only a positive thing. And of course there's going to be, well, I assume there would be protections in place to prevent companies from exploiting the situation and being fraudulent or misleading and deceptive. But either way, I think this is absolutely fantastic. Reading on. SEC Chairman Jay Clayton, who was appointed by President Donald Trump, hinted at the tension in April while making clear that he thought retail investors were missing out. Our retail investors, people who aren't qualified investors, aren't having access to those investment opportunities, and over some periods of time, those investment opportunities perform better, he said in an April 9 Bloomberg television interview with David Rubenstein, the co-founder of private equity firm Carlyle Group. We want to make sure retail isn't left behind. The existing SEC rules that the agency asks questions about changing generally prevent anyone who earns less than $200,000 annually or those with a net worth below $1 million from investing in hedge funds or private equity. The regulator has also been hesitant to allow mutual funds and other vehicles that manage retail money to invest in private funds. Any revisions would likely be years off if they happen at all. Still, the regulator's consideration marks headway for the hedge fund and private equity industries, which have been pushing for more access to retail money. Private equity firms in particular are looking for new growth areas as they raise record amounts of cash. Blackstone Group for years has been targeting retail clients, creating funds that accept minimum investments that are as small as $2,500. The firm is focusing on clients with as little as $1 million to $5 million who wouldn't otherwise have access to its platform. In what's known as a concept release, the SEC detailed its research on investing rules and asked dozens of questions. Here are some of the queries included in the 211-page document. Should the SEC change how it defines an accredited investor and alter the financial thresholds that now limit investing in private funds? Should current rules for crowdfunding be revised? What restrictions should there be, if any, to limit funds with retail money from investing in private equity and hedge funds? What restrictions should business development companies whose shares typically trade on public stock exchanges face in investing in hedge funds and private equity? What restrictions, if any, should BDCs face in offering shares to retail investors? Should the SEC make it easier for companies to raise money from investors? So this is fascinating stuff. But this shows a real change in the mindset of the SEC to be looking at something so foundational to the class of investors that can gain access to some of these products. And because the problem has been a rich get richer thing where people had to have a certain amount of money, and this accredited investor status is significant. It's like you got to earn more than $300,000 a year for 2 years in a row, or have assets of like, I believe, $1 to $2 million. Like, it's not easy to become an accredited investor. And then once you're there, you get access to all these products. Or also, the other people that get access to these products are like private wealth funds, managed funds, hedge funds, things like that. So these funds and these people, these high net worth individuals, are the ones that get access to the biggest discounted stocks at the earliest stage. And again, like I said earlier, the shares or the stock that have the most voting weight, being Class A, Class B, Class C, whether that's a seed fund of a tech startup, whether that's Series A, Series B, Series C. These are when the risk is high, but so is the monetary reward over a period of time. So I think this is fantastic. And like I said, it shows a change of mindset and perhaps even direction of the SEC in terms of making it more equitable, making regulations more equitable so more people can gain access to making money. And that's a good thing in my book for everyone. So anyway, guys, that's it for the video today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was informative. If you did, if you liked the video, the likes are always really appreciated. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to press the subscribe button, hit the little notification bell so you're notified of future content. Leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you think of Facebook. Personally, I think things are looking very, very dire for Libra and for the company in general. I've spoken about it a bit on my personal Twitter account. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Yeah, and that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. My name's Bo, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.